Hello, my Nevermore Hollow Psychos. This is Lafayette Faust. And I want to take a few moments and explain what you're about to hear or witness visually if you're watching this on YouTube. First, let me touch on what exactly is Nevermore Hollows. It's a show that allows me to take my love of horror, small towns, over-the-top characters, and weird humor and throw them in a blender and mix up a twisted tale like you won't hear anywhere else. A new and very good friend, John Fike of the Myths, Monsters, and Mullets podcast, his link is in the show notes, is a passionate supporter of the show, and he has recently taken on a voice acting role on our Patreon show called Dark of Night with Darwin Gallows. He suggested to me that we do alternate reality-style versions of some of the Nevermore Hollows stories. Well, we both love comedy, and we came up with this wonderfully wild train wreck of a series you're about to witness. The series is called The Pink Flamingoes Trailer Park Players Present. We each take on very redneck personas and do live table readings of the stories we've already published. Now, my goal is to write the best horror I possibly can, but I do love comedy, and some of my stories show glimpses of my twisted humor. And as you've heard me say before, time is the most valuable thing in the world, and if you spend some of your precious time with me, I want it to be worth the expense. This brings us to the first show of the new series. We're going to be reading Drug of the Damned, and that story is basically a white trash Breaking Bad. It's weird, it's over the top, and it shouldn't be any good, but as of right now, to my happy surprise, it is one of the most liked episodes we've done so far. So tonight, I got together with my brothers from other redneck mothers, Chris Madman Goins and John Fike, and we took Drug of the Damned, and we did a live table reading. What do I think about the finished product? Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's a train wreck. But I had an absolute blast. And I promise you that if you listen to the whole show, it devolves into something that is hard to explain. But I think it's funny. So, with that long introduction to this wild experience, I invite you to sit back, pop open a can of Pabst Blue Ribbon, and prepare yourself for the hangover. Hello, all my Nevermore Hollow Psychos. This is Bubba Jr., and I am in the studio with JR Jr. and Madman Jr. And I would like to explain what we're doing tonight. As you know, we write some really dark stuff on this show. And I try to infuse a little humor here and there, but what I wanted to do is try to do something different tonight and inflect some humor into one of our most well-liked shows. Dude, Drug of the Damned is one of the most popular shows that we've done, and I think it's because it is that B-movie thing that we love. It's got a little bit of horror. We're building the universe. You know, we go deeper on some things in there with Granny Dingo and whatnot, but it's also funny, tongue-in-cheek. So tonight, as you can see, for those of you who are watching on YouTube, Madman Jr. and JR Jr. and me, Bubba Jr., are all wearing mullets, because we're going to be in character and we're going to be voicing these characters as we get into this story. So that's what we'll be doing. But before we get into that, Chris, have you had your magic mind?
Yes, I have. And as you can tell,
right.
I'm on point. God help us.
Good. All right. So look, we've been doing the magic mind for a while now, and we both love it. I'm pumped. I've had mine. I'm ready to go. And for those of you who are listening, click on the link in the show notes, and you can get 20% off your first purchase, 48% off of a subscription, and you can use our our link, which is Nevermore LT, and you're going to like it. And Chris and I, we swore we would never push a product that we didn't use and didn't think that it worked, and we like it, and we use it, and
Yes,
it works.
we do.
So, JR Jr., you need to be getting you some of that Magic Mind.
Apparently, because I wasn't paying attention.
Right. Look, it does help you focus, and it's backed by 200 studies. It uses the nootropic mushrooms, which are grown in California, which is locally sourced. It's not from some weird country where you don't know what you're getting. So I'm just telling you, man. I tell you what, I'll send you some of mine so you can have some and get your foot in the door. All right.
Yeah, but you can click on our code and you get discounts.
That's right. So
I'd like me some discounts.
Yeah.
Buddy.
And that way I don't have to be your daddy and send you something. You can just buy it.
I didn't get my allowance this week, Daddy.
All right. Okay, so good. All right, so for everybody who's listening on the podcast, we're getting ready to start. And for those of you who are seeing this train wreck on YouTube, here we go. So
sit back, relax, and enjoy the ride.
Right. So tonight, the voice acting will be done by JR Jr., and he will be playing
Cletus and Ivan.
And the animal sounds.
And anything
else you feel like
of
doing.
Nevermore Hollows.
Because we have Ouija the Owl tonight. We have Manson, and we have McCready, and whatever else you want to do. And then we have
Nevermore Hollows Redneck Menagerie.
That's right. And
That's
we
a
have
big word for me, Gris or Madman Jr.
Yeah, so Madman Jr. will be playing the voice of.
I will be Clayton, Jolene, and Granny Dingo.
All right. So here we go. I will be Bubba Jr. will be narrating, and we'll be taking the voice roles of the boys. And we decided before this show started, we're not going to mess with the boys because the boys are well loved. And so I'm going to try to do those right. So here we go. So this is our very first episode of the Pink Flamingos Players Presents a reading of Drug of the Damned. Thank you. And we have a live studio audience, and they are ready. Listen, they're raucous. You hear that?
They are.
Man, calm down. Okay. Who would have known?
I just caught a pair of panties.
Did you really? So
yeah.
That's good. How big are they?
I needed both hands.
Okay, so for those of you who are curious, Chris and I have been trying to give a peek behind the curtain of our creative process. I am using a vintage Speedy Gonzales Looney Tunes glass from 1973 with some of John's terrible stomach elixir called Pabst Blue Ribbon. So
it's the best, anyway, Alan. It's got a blue ribbon on it.
Yeah, like you said, you put a blue ribbon. You put a blue ribbon on a pig, and it's still pig. All right, so here we go. Are we ready?
And we all pray that the lead that's in that glass doesn't hurt Alan as much as the PBR.
Maybe that's why I'm seeing weird stuff all over the moment. All right. So here we go. Cletus and Clayton Dugan were as close as brothers, though they were cousins. They dropped out of middle school together, got in trouble together, and went to jail together. They lived in trailer 71 on the backside of the Pink Flamingos trailer park, drove shiny new Dodge Ram trucks, Cletus's was red and Clayton's was white, and considered themselves the best meth cooks in the state of Georgia. Neither could read very well, and thinking too much made their brains fuzzy, but Clayton's sister, Kelsey May, had graduated from Hitchcock High with a 2.0 GPA. Granted, it was only because she'd threatened to start a rumor that Principal Snyder had propositioned her, which he had not, but it was still a smart move that helped her get her diploma. When Kelsey May found out that Cletus and Clayton had made up a batch of meth and were trying to sell it around town with zero success, she had taken over the operation. Do you know why she took over the operation? Because
they were dumb.
They were dumb. And Kelsey May had watched...
DPA.
That's right. Kelsey May had watched the whole Breaking Bad series back before the cable got shut off, and she had learned that the secret of Jesse's and Walter's success was badass marketing.
The only reason the internet or the cable got shut off is because her neighbor, John Methenkamp, was stealing it.
Yeah, because he's a rascal and he's a loser. All his money goes into hair products for his mullet. Okay.
That's right. Suave ain't cheap, man.
That's right. I thought you were a Brett girl, John Methenkamp. So, all right. First, they called their meth Blue Sky. And then Walter had created this mysterious figure of a drug lord by giving himself the street name of Heisenberg. He had chosen that name because of his admiration of the physicist of the same name. So immediately after taking over the operation from Cletus and Clayton, Kelsey May employed the same strategy. She took her inspiration from her love of Dolly Parton. She gave herself the street name of Jolene and named their meth Hard Candy, both of which came, which came, is that PBR's working on me in the lead. The PBR in the lead, it's got me. It could be my luxurious golden locks here that I'm wearing. Okay. Both of which came from a couple of Dolly's more famous songs. When she had explained her marketing strategy, Clayton said,
I ain't so sure we should be calling our meth Hard Candy.
Yeah.
Cletus said. He was a skinny guy with a nervous smile that looked more like a lunatic twitch.
Why not?
What?
What?
I ain't so sure you should use Jolene as your drug dealer name either. And why the hell would you put a window sticker on your truck advertising our meth?
Why not?
Now you can deliver that line, right? Yeah. Gosh, keep up, Madman Jr. Okay.
He was in a hurry to get that line out.
He practiced that all day and still screwed it up. So Clayton looked at her like she had lost her mind. He removed his stained trucker hat from his head and nervously wiped at his brow. The front of the hat had the shadow outline of a fish hook and a naked woman. The text read, "Hookers or hooks, both better than work."
Well, because we don't want to piss off Dolly Parton.
When acting as Jolene, Kelsey May felt bolder, more confident, stronger, and she was not going to let anyone change her mind. You two...
They were stupid as hell.
It's like in stereo.
Yeah.
Cletus felt the need to come to his cousin's defense. He absent-mindedly scratched at the wiry beard he'd been trying to grow, which only made him look as if his face had the mange.
You don't know Kelsey May? Jolene. Dang, it sure is hard to call you that now. But anyway, it could happen. If word got back to Dolly, she'd be really mad. And I don't know if I got enough energy to handle both them boobs.
And do what?
Clayton gave a sheepish shrug of his beefy shoulders.
I don't know. Maybe come after us?
Jolene laughed so hard tears spilled from her eyes and her stomach hurt. When she regained her composure, she said,
And what? Kick our asses with her wigs and boobs?
So I'm curious as to why Clayton and Jolene sound very similar. I guess it's because they're inbred cousins.
And honestly, we ain't got to worry about Dolly. We'll see her boobs 10 minutes before wigs get here.
Yeah.
Clayton and Cletus looked like two sad puppies who had been smacked with newspapers. But when they realized the idea that the world-famous Dolly Parton would come after them for using her song titles in their fledgling drug enterprise was ridiculous, they embraced the idea and ran with it. Sheriff Mosley kept the country... excuse me. Sheriff Mosley, it's the...
Don't blame the PBR.
It's the golden elixir of passing out or whatever this is. Sheriff Mosley kept the county pretty much drug-free, so Jolene decided to drive to Atlanta where the market for meth was better. It had been a wild success, and in her last month alone, they had made over $100,000 selling hard candy to Atlanta's addicts. You know, I should have been reading this all along in a more redneck voice instead of Lafayette, so here we go. Good change midstream here.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Go ahead, right ahead.
Emboldened, she started looking for ways to expand their operation. And on her most recent trip to Atlanta in her own brand new Dodge Ram Black with a 3-inch lift kit and all the bells and whistles, she'd gotten invited to a secret rave in an abandoned building. And there, she'd seen at least 1,000 partiers drinking liquor by the gallon and taking handfuls of drugs. She saw that they were also slurping down hundreds, if not thousands, of Jell-O shots. I think I'm finding my stride now, okay? And that's when she had her next big idea. After slipping the bartender a $100 bill, she was introduced to the person in charge, a 30-year-old black Rastafarian named Jasmina. Now, Jolene left the meeting with an order for 10,000 Jell-O shots. And on her way back to Nevermore Hollow, she came up with an idea for a potent recipe using moonshine that would guarantee a profitable relationship with Jasmina. When she did the math and realized it would take 666 cups of moonshine to make 10,000 Jell-O shots, a devilish smile spread across her face.
All 3 teams.
Pause.
Yep.
Side note for all those that are listening. When I was writing this story and I wondered, because I want to get it right, how many cups of whiskey would it take to make 10,000 Jell-O shots? It came up 666 cups.
Now
that was
you
not
know.
made up by me. That was not made up by me. And I was thinking, dude, I'm writing a story about evil Jell-O shots. 666 seems appropriate. Okay. She stopped at a couple big box grocery stores in Atlanta and bought all the cherry-flavored gelatin in 2-ounce containers she needed to finish the product. The next morning, she
just
called...
hit second gear with that freaking accent.
I'm in it now. Speedy Gonzalez and his magic elixir is working. So, all right. The next morning, she called Clayton and Cletus and told them to get their ices over to Lugosi Swamp, where Cletus's daddy had hidden his moonshine still, and load up 42 gallons of the stuff, which roughly equaled the 660 cups they needed, and bring it over to the abandoned trailer they used to cook up their hard candy. That was trailer 99, and it had seen its best days 50 years ago. It sat on the south part of the lot and was covered in black mildew and green slime. And the interior, it was mottled with mold that somehow resisted the harsh chemical fumes of the meth they'd been cooking. But it was perfect for what they needed to do, because it was far enough from the other trailers that no one noticed their operation. And you know what? They were careful to keep their efforts away from the watchful eye of Ivan Ivanovich, the park's custodian, by always cooking after midnight and making sure that they were cleared out before dawn.
Thank you, Alan. I think he's regressing.
Look, man, he keeps going back and forth. He's like, he wants to be Lafayette Foul so bad.
when I was a stand-up comedian, I got hooked up with some dudes doing doing the improv, right? Like, whose line is it anyway? And they refused to let me take anything from the crowd that said I had to be French or German or whatever, because no matter what it was, it always ended up redneck German. So, all right. Okay. So they gathered at the trailer just after 11 p.m. when Jolene opened up the rusty steel drum containing the moonshine. She said,
"What the hell is this?"
"Why do you sound like you don't have teeth?"
I mean, character, man.
Okay,
Gee,
so Clean. See, I sound like this because look, I grew up in a trailer park. Well, not a trailer park. It was a trailer with no running water. So I knew people like this. Okay, so anyway, Cletus stepped over and looked inside. He pushed his stained trucker cap back and said,
Looks like a swamp rat or my ex-wife. They both do a lot of breeding and carry diseases.
"You're totally changing the dialogue here." Okay, so Jolene glared at him.
"I know what it looks like, fool. How'd it get inside?"
Clayton walked over and glanced at the rat floating in the slime.
"So that's where that nasty bastard went. I took them tight pants off. I feel a lot better."
So he said, "You're reading this in Commando now." Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And Jolene said,
"What do you mean?" After
she
we
said,
poured the shine. Go for it.
Jolene said her patience with these two idiots running thin.
After we poured the shine in this here drum, we seen this swamp rat digging in our bags of sugar and mash. I was going to shoot the damn thing, but it done disappeared before I got my rifle from the truck.
He glanced over at Cletus.
Yeah. It was you who's supposed to be watching out for stuff like this. You's the one that let this critter in the shine.
He's the only one not drinking.
That just shows how bad I actually am.
Right. And then Cletus replied,
Don't you blame me for this. I was watching it, but I dropped my cigarette because Betty Jo called, and she was pregnant again. And I told her I ain't paying no more child support until we get DNA testing done on the first one. That kid came out with a full-grown mullet, and his first words were PBR. You know I'd only drink Miller High Life. Anyway, I reached down, and when I looked up, the damn thing was gone. It must have crawled inside and drowned.
Jolene took a deep breath to steady herself.
And neither of you looked inside to make sure nothing had fallen in before you put the lid on?
Cletus locked his eyes defiantly on hers, and as he spoke, a Camel cigarette dangled precariously from the corner of his mouth.
We was in a hurry, Jolene. You only gave us a mason jar to measure out the shine. We lost count 6 times, and then Clayton kept making me drink some. You said haul ass, and that's what we done. We hauled ass. Things happen. They just do.
We can take the gosh darn thing out. He grabbed...
Clayton said he grabbed the rat by the tail and held it up.
Hey, there's a big mother, at least 30 pounds. Hey, this is one of them nutria rats. Look at his big old front teeth.
Why they look like he's been eating Doritos like that?
I done heard they're made of iron. That's
Clayton
what
said.
makes them so strong and able to eat through just about anything. Get rid of it,
Jolene said.
Let's get this done.
Clayton tossed the massive shine-soaked rat onto the ground beside a 50-gallon cast-iron cauldron that Jolene had borrowed from the Brousseau sisters, who lived a couple lanes over from her. It had been rumored that the three sisters were witches, but Jolene doubted that because they were idiots. She suspected they could not even read or write. This jacked-up world didn't need a coven of white trash witches trying to cast spells. That could be disastrous. So they filled the cauldron with their water that they'd drawn from a rusty tap inside the moldy trailer and hung it over a fire that they'd built in the backyard. Once the water came to a boil, they opened the boxes and stirred in the gelatin. And when it had fully dissolved, they extinguished the fire and they poured in cool water and 666 cups of the swamp rat-infested moonshine.
We done called her meth hard candy, or crack 9 to 5, or weed wildflowers, and her acid coat of many colors. So what are we going to call this here?
Jolene had already decided on the name.
We're going to call it Dolly. All right.
Just remember, Chris, you chose who was reading what.
He keeps getting lost in who he's reading. Okay, let's keep it going now. This story's gonna make us famous, and we're gonna share a stage with Dolly Parton. That's what we're gonna do. We might even get to see George Strait, by gosh, or Morgan Damn Wallen. If I could share a stage with Morgan Damn Wallen, hell, I'd throw panties at Morgan Damn Wallen. I don't even wear panties. All right. Anyway, where are we in the story?
All right, Clayton said.
Yeah.
He gave a dark tooth. Hang on. Hang on. I need you to be a little bit professional when we're doing this, all right? This is pro stuff, man. This is pro stuff, okay? We want Hollywood to pick up Never More Hollows, and they ain't going to pick up Never More Hollows if you ain't learning your lines and knowing how to interact with other actors. Damn, Madman Jr.
God. You act like we didn't practice at all.
No, not one damn bit.
All right. So I'm gonna say action, and we're gonna start that line again. Okay, ready?
Waiting on you.
Action. Waiting on you, Clayton.
It's all right, Clayton.
All right. This here first batch of dollies done cooked up. Before we start ladling into some of them little containers, why don't we go take a break? I'm hungry.
Jolene checked her watch. Jolene checked her watch.
Midnight. Let's take that. You didn't color code them damn words.
Yeah, I forgot. Look, I can't do everything. Somebody got to do something else.
It's just after midnight. Let's take an hour, get some food, come back, and knock it out.
She looked at the steaming brew inside that cauldron, and she realized it really did look like something a coven of witches would cook up.
Dolly?
She said.
I sure hope you're as evil as you look.
I sure am hungry. I ain't had nothing to eat since those fried bologna sandwiches for breakfast.
We was just talking about being professional. That line ain't even in the damn story.
It's called improvisation.
Oh, I thought you got a shot for that and it got cleared up.
I caught it from you.
I told you not to be drinking out of my Speedy Gonzales Looney Tunes glass. I ain't going, man. Only one person can drink out of the Speedy Gonzales Looney Tunes glass from 1973, and that's me, Bub Jr. Anybody else is going to get that improvisation disease you just said you got. All right. Anyway, with that, Hang on, I just splashed that PBR all over me. With that, they got into their gleam. Yeah, I think it's burning me. With that, they got into their gleaming Ram trucks, and they drove over to Winona's Waffle Hut, and they had themselves a good late-night supper. I think this is a good time to take a pause, and let's talk about our sponsor for tonight. Our sponsor tonight is Nevermore Hollows. And if you are willing, if you like what we do and you want to go to our Patreon and you want to sign up for the Night Terrors tier, you will get this shirt right here that I'm wearing.
It look like he's about to take the thing off.
Is there a reason why you keep pulling that up?
I'm trying to show the people on the camera. Look, I don't have an OnlyFans.
He's
like
trying
you
to show
people do.
Hitchcock.
Kids,
Look,
this is what happens. This is what happens when you drink, children. This is what happens. So you better be careful.
No, look, I've only had half a PBR, just a half. But what I'm saying is, I don't know how to work these cameras because I don't have OnlyFans like you sluts. But anyway, so the shirt says
he's skinny. See,
it says
half a beer and he's done. If he had some weight on him,
it says, I'm trying to talk about our sponsor. It says Hitchcock High Psychos, and it says Nevermore Hollows podcast. Like I don't know. I told you when I get infected with the improvisation, it just comes and goes. Anyway, this shirt will be a gift given to you if you sign up for the Night Terrors. All right. So now,
why do you sound like a TV evangelist?
I don't know. We'll probably end up some Nazi German sounding guy before this is over with. It's just the way. I don't know where it's gonna go. I could be speaking French. I'm smart. I read. Okay, I don't read, but I know people who read, so I have the ability to come up with different languages. All right. So anyway, now back to the show.
God, this is so stupid.
I'm putting this out. I'm doing it.
I know, and I love it. I didn't say I didn't love it. I just said it was stupid. I love it.
All right.
Oh,
and
Lord.
if we could get up to 500 subscribers, we'd do one of these live.
That sounds good to me.
All right. So if you people think this is so stupid, but you won't see again,
or if you could give us 500 subscribers so we won't do it live, that would be okay too.
Go over to Buy Me a Coffee and make like a $10,000 donation, and we won't do one of these again.
No, we will never hurt your ears again.
Or else we're going to re-record every damn one of these Nevermore Hollow stories just like this.
We're all going to talk like this.
I don't know why I'm suddenly talking real sweet. But anyway, let's get back to the story. Commercial time's over. While they were gone, Dolly began to congeal as if it were a steamy mass of gore. As it did, due to the combination of the mold-tainted water and the rat-infested shine and the evil intent spoken over it by Jolene, it began to squirm with life. Now, y'all see what I did right there? I used my inflection.
I was waiting for you to yell, "Evil spirits, come out!"
Dude, let me tell you, I am weaving a spell right now with my inflection. I'm pulling people in, man.
It's either that or you're getting ready to charge 99 cents a minute.
I don't even know how to respond to that. All right. So anyway, excuse me. I need to take another sip from Speedy.
Maybe you've had enough of Speedy.
On the grass beside the cauldron, the swamp rat twitched. Its tail began a flicking. Its eyes done flittered open, and it rolled over, and it pushed itself up, stumbled, and steadied himself. That's right. It made that noise when it was stumbling and steadying itself. It had not been dead, y'all. That thing wasn't dead at all. It had only been heavily inebriated. Inebriated, that's a word that I learned is French. That means you drank too much PBR. And it had
You
fallen
learned that in
into
court.
into a death-like stupor while it floated on top of that moonshine inside the steel drum. It glanced around with bleary black eyes. Above the rat, Dolly glimmered deep red in the pale moonlight. It oozed over the edge of the cauldron and blobbed down onto the drunken swamp rat. As it did, the critter screamed in terror. Hang on, I got it. Yeah, and I got a Dolly sound right here. Hang on, let's listen to it.
Okay.
Dolly
I'll
sounded.
do the scream after the Dolly sound.
Yeah, all right. So you hear it? It was all squishy. It sounded all squishy. Yeah, and look, Dolly, when it started eating that swamp nutria rat, it sounded like this. Listen. It was gobbling it up like it was eating a juicy peach. Anyway. As it did so, the critter screamed in terror. And I've lost track where I was. Dolly felt the heat. Dolly felt the heat of the rodent, its energy as it fought to escape, and it pulled that rat deep inside itself. And Dolly worked its way inside the rat's mouth and nasal cavity, and when it touched the rat's brain, it sensed that this organ carried much power. Dolly flowed over every crevice of the rat's brain, seeped into every cell, and intimately bonded with it. Now the fused brain, now fused with the brain, Dolly was able to see through the rat's eyes, people. It could see. And when it began to strangely, and then it began to strangely glow. I swear I'm not drunk. I'm just lost. Okay. The fusion with the rat's brain gave Dolly increased self-awareness. And Dolly realized it needed only the rat's head, which protected the brain, and due to some dark instinct, knew that it had the ability to dissolve part of the rat that it did not need. Now,
Alan, are you channeling Dr. Phil?
I don't know what I'm doing. I think I'm channeling all kinds of people. And right now, in my heart, I'm just so happy. I feel like I'm channeling Bob Marley and everything's going to be all right. But anyway, as just an aside here.
At the feed store?
Yeah. Bob Marley that works at the feed store. You know him. He's the guy that sings country versions of all them Rastafarian songs. You know? And he says he's going to make it in Nashville, but everybody knows Nashville don't like good music. They don't like good music. That's why you got damn Morgan Wallen, right? If they like good music, Bob Marley, who down at the feed store, who does the country music versions of Rastafarian, he'd have a contract, but he ain't got no damn contract because Nashville's done lost its damn mind. Everything comes out of Nashville right now. It sounds like boy bands, like country boy bands.
I'm Bob Marley from the feed store.
There he is. He just showed up. He was walking down. All right, so he was walking down the road in front of Trailer 99, and he heard something, and he said, that sounds like something. Yeah, and he said it just like this. I'm going to say,
hey, man.
All right. And he said, and I want you to say it just like he said it, J.R. Jr. He said, this sounds like somebody's eating a juicy, juicy peach.
And it sounds like somebody eating a juicy, juicy peach. I don't know why that sounded like Borat.
Now, I'm going to let you in on another little behind the curtain thing about how Lafayette wrote this story, because I know Lafayette personally. He's a personal good friend of mine. And he said right here, when he said that Dolly realized it needed only the rat's head, which protected the brain, and due to some dark instinct knew that it had the ability to dissolve the part of the rat it did not need, he said he wrote that after about 4 hours trying to think, how the hell does this thing know how to dissolve stuff? And he just said, it's some dark energy. It's dark energy. And I thought, damn, Lafayette, that was easy. That was well done, because I was totally in the story. I was like, damn, you are a damn freaking good writer, Lafayette. I'm surprised Hollywood ain't done come knocking, man.
I agree. I wish I could meet Lafayette Faust in real life.
Well, he's in that damn bunker. I think it used to be one of them 1950s shelters, you know, full of sardines and you know,
Spam.
water. Yeah, spam. Look, man, you put spam on a biscuit and you ain't. You sound like Dolly eating that rat if you put spam on a biscuit. you sound like you eating a juicy peach, but it'll be spam on a biscuit, baby. I'm telling you. And you know what? We just came up.
Turned it into nightmare fuel.
We just came up with the Pink Flamingoes Trailer Park Player's first shirt. You put that, it'll be like spam on a biscuit. It's just shirt's gonna say like spam on a biscuit. Nevermore Hollows Pink Flamingos Trailer Park Players.
Oh my God.
All right. Anyway, nobody knows what Lafayette looks like. I mean, I might have caught a glimpse of him once because I think I saw him out. He poked his head out, but I don't know. I dropped gummies that day. There's no telling what I saw. It could have just been one of them big. It could be one of them big fat-headed groundhogs we got here in Nevermore Hollows. You know, the kind, them big ass heads on them groundhogs. Anyway, let's get back to the story. People, stop getting distracted. Anyway, Dolly quivered with a burst of energy. It received when the swamp rat's body dissolved. Boy, Dolly liked the way that swamp rat dissolved. It made her quiver. And Dolly liked that feeling. She liked it. And she wanted more. So Dolly would use its new awareness. You know what it's going to use its awareness to? What was it going to do, Madman? What was it going to do?
It's going
to hunt. So the rat's head done floated in the center of Dolly, and its strangely glowing eyes caused the mass to pulse with crimson shimmer. Man, that's some beautiful writing right there. I'm just, damn, Lafayette's good. The rat's head done moved around, looking at the trailer, looking at the lot, looking at the woods, and scanning for anything that was living. And you know what happened? J.R. Jr., guess what happened?
I think it's on a possum.
A possum, damn right, because Nevermore's got a whole, man, I mean, I'm surprised they ain't called Possum Hollow. But anyway, an opossum done waddled out from under the trailer, It was lured by that sugary aroma of the gelatin. And the rat's eyes done locked onto the opossum, and Dolly whipped out a gelatinous tentacle, snatched a possum. Yeah, it sounded just like that. And it slurped that possum inside its quivering mass. And Dolly savored that possum's life force as its body was slowly dissolved.
Possum.
Yeah. Dolly, it was so damn good, Dolly got the ability to speak. Dolly got the ability to speak. Possum, that was, I'll tell you, Nevermore Hollows possum. You know what? You put a Nevermore Hollows possum on a biscuit, and you ain't ever had nothing until you get a Nevermore Hollows possum on a biscuit.
That's shirt number 2.
We getting some merchandise out of this right here. So anyway, guess you know what happened when hey J.R. Jr., you know what happened when to Dolly when that rat's body slowly dissolved?
It was ecstasy.
She quivered, and her cherry-colored body pulsed. It actually pulsed in ecstasy. And when Lafayette told me, because we're friends and all, he told me that when he wrote that, he almost took it out because it sounded a bit too sexual. He didn't want this to be a sexual story. He ain't into writing erotica, although he sent me a text the other day, and he said that he had a visitor in there. He had a girl visitor in the bunker with him, and And he looked over at her and he said, Heather, because her name was Heather. He said, Heather, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think I'm going to write redneck erotica. And Heather said, Lafayette, you'd probably make a damn $1,000 a month writing damn redneck erotica. So he's been thinking about writing redneck erotica. That's what he told me. He told me because I got his phone number. He texted me. But anyway,
the Pink Flamingo players aren't recreating that.
Well, then you won't get paid. If I'm telling y'all, if I'm telling y'all,
I don't get 1/3 of zero.
Well, I told y'all if this video made any money, I'd split it with y'all equal.
Okay. But I ain't doing erotica.
Well, you'll do it if I damn well tell you to, because I'm writing you damn checks, J.R. Jr. Okay. I'm sorry for the listeners who had to hear that, but sometimes as a leader, you got to just step up and damn lead. You got to pull people you got to grab them by the nose and say, "You gonna do what I'm gonna do? You want to say I'm gonna do? I'll tell you gonna do. You gonna do." Okay, so let's get back to
that old beer. I'm the one over here chugging Fireball and Jim Beam, and I've had like 4 beers. You're the one acting like you've had ecstasy.
I
just read that word. I just read that word, and I figured out what it meant.
You know what? It's going to be in that. I bet you Lafayette would write a lot of redneck ecstasy stories. So anyway, dang it, we off track again. We got 8 pages to go. So let's get this story flowing. All right. The moment was fleeting, and Dolly was hungry for more. It oozed quickly forward underneath the trailer, looking for more things to eat. And Dolly found only roaches, because that's all that's under a trailer. And it absorbed them as fast as it could. Dozens of them roaches, and their life forces just weren't enough to satisfy. Dolly wanted more. She just wanted more. She had a taste, and she needs more now. And suddenly, light. She ain't never seen light before. Light come under the trailer. Yeah, she had a religious experience. And Dolly inched close enough to the edge of the trailer so it could see what it caused the light.
Do you see the light?
Yes, Madman Jr., where do you think that light was coming from?
At this point, I had no idea.
J.R. Jr., where do you think the light was coming from?
I'm guessing it was from the headlights.
I shit you not. It was Jolene, and it was Cletus, and it was Clayton, and they had arrived back from Winona's Waffle Hut, and they was full of damn waffles. They'd eaten so many waffles, they was on a sugar rush because they was using that syrup, that special syrup that Isaac makes. You know, he won't tell nobody what's in it. He ain't. You know, I went in there one day, I offered him $10 damn. I said, Isaac, you tell me what's in that damn syrup, and I will give you $10. And he looked at me, and you know, Isaac, he's a big man. He's a big man, but he talks real sweet and soft. And I think he's a poet. But anyway, he said, Bubba Jr., I would love to share that information with you, Bubba Jr. But I can't. It's a secret family recipe. And I was like, okay. I mean, I can't argue with that. I mean,
J.R. Grandma Isaac.
Grandma Isaac. He showed me a picture of Grandma Isaac. Do you know what she looked like?
Grandma Isaac.
Yeah, do you know what Grandma Isaac looked like?
Tell us.
Please.
She looked like an African American Sonny from Sonny and Cher. She did. I didn't think it was a woman at first. I was like, "Damn, that's Sonny from Sonny and Cher," but he ain't white. I don't know what happened. Anyway, back to the damn story. Gosh, people. Anyway, Jolene and Clayton lit up cigarettes and stood by their truck smoking making small talk, because, that's what you do when you smoke, right? You just make small talk. And then Cletus headed back to the backyard to start the ladling process, where he's going to ladle out to do a shot so they get to 10,000 shots. And when he stepped around the corner, Dolly attacked. She just attacked him, right? And it oozed out from under the trailer, and it wrapped around Cletus's legs.
What the hell? Is that you, Big Mama?
Cletus yelled. He tried to step back, but he fell onto his butt, and then his eyes done shot real wide. And he began to scream as Dolly began dissolving his legs. And the first things to go were his boots and his jeans. And then the skin and the muscle and the tendons, and leaving only the bone.
What in the damn hell is he yelling at? I can get out there too.
Jolene done said. She reached inside the truck and grabbed her pistol, a .357 Desert Eagle. I mean, Jolene don't screw around when it comes to pistols. It was a big gun that she'd never had to use, because every time she'd waved it at somebody, they saw the size of that massive weapon and they retreated. She and Clayton
Nothing
ran.
knows the exact same feeling.
Well, I heard that was just make believe, but I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Hell, anyway, Dolly was eating up Cletus's legs. She was dissolving them, and so that he couldn't crawl away. And then after she incapacitated him, she oozed back under the trailer out of sight, waiting for the others, because she had gotten smart. She was using tactics. Okay, so Clayton, he done stopped in his tracks as he run around. His mouth was hanging open at the sight of Cletus laying on the ground. The flesh on his legs was missing from the knees down, and blood was everywhere. It was splurting on the grass. It was splurting on the trailer. It was splurting on on Dolly. It was splurting on everything, on the cauldron. I mean, just everything. And Cletus was writhing in agony, and he was yelling.
It's a monster. Oh, Lord, it's a monster. It ate my legs. I'll never be able to dance a Nutcracker Suite at Trailer Park Christmas play again.
And he was good at that. Did y'all see him last year? Damn. I mean, I didn't even think. I mean, the guy can't add 1 + 1, but he could dance like that Baryshnikov guy back in the 70s. I mean it, man. He had on them special boots. Remember them special boots they gave him that day at the Christmas play, and he was dancing the Nutcracker?
Yeah, and the cod piece was way too small.
Yeah, it was. The first rule of improv is never deny. You just say yes and. So I'm going to have to take that and do something with it. So I'm going to say, it was for a midget. And he wasn't a midget. He wasn't a midget. Excuse me. Look, we love our little people listeners. Y'all are important to us. Now, back to the story.
How trailer park people talk.
You're right.
Right.
That's
We're
right.
talking like trailer park people.
I think we are.
And I'm not afraid of offending trailer park people.
Oh, I see.
Because they can't afford to listen to this show.
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
That's
right. That's right. Look, I know some remember, I told you I growed up in a trailer park in real life. In real life, y'all know that story. Y'all know the guy behind the guy behind the guy. He growed up in a trailer, and he wrote. Anyway. I don't even know where I was going with that, so I'm just going to get back to this.
We're gonna need GPS to find our ways back here, boys.
So anyway, we're going to start back at the line. Oh my God, it's a monster. Okay, so anyway, Jr. Jr.
I got to do that again.
Do you want to look professional, or you want to look like a dumbass?
I'm wearing a fake mullet. It's a monster. Oh, Lord, it's a monster. It ate my legs. I'll never be able to play the Nutcracker Suite at the Trailer Park Christmas play again.
Clayton had stopped too quickly for Jolene to stop. She bumped into him, causing him to stumble closer to that trailer. And Dolly, she done saw her opportunity. She crawled out and she snatched Clayton by his legs, and she pulled Clayton under the trailer, y'all. She did it. She pulled him under the trailer. And for a couple heartbeats, Jolene, she couldn't understand what she was witnessing. She could only watch as Clayton was pulled screaming into the dark void under that trailer. And I just want you to know that when I think about that dark void under that trailer, it just reminds me of how desperately short life is. It does. I mean, life is short, y'all. It's real short. And I just don't want nobody to go under that dark abyss in a trailer. Nobody should go under the dark abyss. I don't want to preach. I'll just get back to the story. Where was I?
I don't even know. You started making shit up. I don't know.
She caught sight of what appeared to be the decapitated head of a very large swamp rat with glowing eyes, and it was floating inside a large mass of Jell-O. And her confusion was made worse by all the screaming. Clayton was screaming. Cletus was screaming. And she realized that she also was screaming. She realized.
Scream.
Damn. I'm like, you know what? I gotta get some better actors, man. I'm telling you.
I got too involved in watching this train wreck. So
You know what? I actually had some people from the next county over offer to do this, and I turned them down because I thought, no, these guys are professionals. They're professionals. They own the internet, so I
was in the Nutcracker Suite.
You gotta have nuts first. Anyway, anyway, taking the story further, okay. She raised that desert eagle in trembling hands and began firing at the monster as it dragged. Hang on, I got some gun sounds. Let me find
Talking
my
about
gun
being
sound.
professional now. You wasn't even ready.
Gun. Here's my gun sound. She's shooting. She shot at it. Look, she's gonna shoot again. She aimed at it and she pulled that trigger. See, told you she was pulling that trigger. And then that wasn't enough. She said, you know what? I'm going to fire 2 more damn rounds into it. So she looked at it, she sighted down, and she pulled trigger. And then she had to wait a second, think about it. She's like, am I even doing this right? Is it working? And then she aimed again, and she shot, right? So that right there was 4 shots.
She said, "Do you feel lucky, punk?"
That's right. But you know what? That monster, it didn't work. Them bullets didn't hurt that monster, and it dragged her under that trailer into the dark, dark void. Life is so short and precious, people. Anyway, though it was after midnight, Ivan Ivanovich was sitting in front of his trailer in a red and white and blue webbed lawn chair that had been at the park since the bicentennial in 1976. That chair had been around. That chair's seen a lot of
white,
ass.
And blue. Red, white, and blue.
Yeah. Red, white, blue. That takes me back, people. That takes me back. I was 8 years old in 1976. 8.
I was a month old at the bicentennial, so.
Were you? Damn baby. Anyway, Ivan was sipping his favorite beer, which was not Pabst Blue Ribbon. And he was cleaning his shotgun, which was how he relaxed. And he stayed prepared for all the crazy shit that happened and deadly stuff that happened at the Pink Flamingoes trailer park. Right? I mean, he had to always stay on his toes. Anyway, Ivan Ivanovich was the park's live-in handyman, and he was also the park's protector. He looked. You know how old he looked? How old did he look, J.R. Jr.?
50.
How old do you think he was, Madman Jr.?
More than 50.
Yeah. The word is he's a lot more than 50, but he looks 50. Cause it makes you wonder what's going on there. I'm gonna give y'all another little nugget from Lafayette, my friend, cause I got his number and all. Anyway, he told me if you want to know more about Lafayette, I mean not Lafayette, but Ivan Ivanovich, you need to sign up for the Patreon for Nevermore Hollows, because there's a new show on there called Dead of Night with Darwin Gallows, and he's going to be talking to Ivan Ivanovich and going to get a little bit more out of. We're going to get to know something about Ivan Ivanovich. So I would ask anybody who feels like it, okay, to go on over to the Patreon and sign up, and you're going to get that Dead of Night with Darwin Gallows. And I hear that the guy,
Darwin Gallows, he's a good-looking dude.
well, you know,
Yeah.
beauty's in the eye of the beholder, you know. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I've seen him, and I ain't beholding it, but you know, to each his own. To each his own. But anyway, I tell you what, that John Fight guy that plays Darwin Gallows, he's a real actor. He does a damn good job, not like these idiots I got on this show tonight. Anyway, I'm ranting again. So anyway,
Go ahead there, fearless leader.
anyway, he looked to be 50, but he was very fit, and he was tall, and he wore his gray hair in a military cut, because that makes me think that he was probably in the military at some point. What do y'all think? I mean, y'all seen him. Y'all seen him. Y'all live here in the trailer park. You seen Ivan. Ivan, I can tell you what. I can sum Ivan up in 3 words. Ain't gonna take no shit. That's Ivan.
There's that Nevermore Hollows education.
That's right, man. I made
Public
always
school at its finest.
And I tell you, I loved coloring in high school. Coloring was good. Blocks.
Almost spit my beer.
I tell you, man, I had my teacher, my English teacher. She told me that someday I'd be famous. She said someday you gonna be on the radio.
It was infamous.
Oh,
Or
well, that's in famous, right? You're famous because you in famous.
Possibly most wanted.
That's a step above famous.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, well, damn, I ain't never had nobody believe in me before. That she believed in me. She did. And that's why we're here.
Maybe she was hoping you'd end up on milk cart.
That's the most hurtful thing you ever said to me, Madman Jr. You fired after the show, of course, but you fired. Okay. Anyway.
All I know is Bubba Jr. High school was the best 6 years of his life.
That's right.
And you know, it's because people there believed in me. So that teacher believed in me. Her name was Becca Fike, and she believed in me. And she said, Bubba Jr., you gonna be famous. You gonna be rubbing elbows with famous people. You might even get to see George Strait someday. And I was like, damn, man, if I could see George
I remember
Strait.
Mrs. Fike. She was hot.
And look, I liked her. Yeah. I can't go much further with what I was going to say, because I don't make somebody, I'll get my ass kicked, because her husband, he big dude. So but I will say this. Okay. Because I'm a radio guy, right? Because we do this is our initial one. This is our inauguration one, but there's going to be more. I'm pretty sure.
No, there won't.
There's going to be more of these. Anyway, I heard that Miss Becca Fike, I mean, she did radio, and she had a really nice voice for it. She did a commercial, and it was really nice. She had a good voice. Anyway, yeah. So anyway, so Ivan was possibly in the military at some point. How long is this going on? We gotta wrap this thing. An hour?
Yeah.
Dang, we've been at it an hour and 22 seconds. Anyway,
An
hour. So anyway, Ivan's handyman, possibly military. Anyway, he caught movement from the corner of his eye, and he looked down the lane, which was lighted only by strings of white and multicolored Christmas lights that the tenants strung up. You know, they put them up to try to make the place look a little bit better, but they leave them up all year long. Anyway, guess who he saw? Madman, guess who he saw?
Shit, I have no idea.
He saw Granny damn Dango coming up the. You know who Granny? She's that witch. We think she's she a witch. Everybody know Granny Dingo a witch. She gotta be 1,000 years old. She gotta be, man. And anyway. Here's the thing with Granny Dingo. She's a witch, and she lived on the far side of the trailer park with this dog named Manson. It was actually a dingo. You know them dingoes from Australia, and nobody knows how she got it in America. Nobody knows how she got it in America, because I heard them things ain't allowed, because they're not like an American species, so they're not allowed to be in America. They're not an American species.
How dare you use them words there, sir?
So anyway, she looked ancient, and she always wore her gray hair in a bun, and she used it. She held a withered chicken claw, and she held it in place. Man, it's the freakiest looking thing.
I'm so old. I remember when it was a raven's claw.
Right. Yep. Well, sometimes she put a raven's claw. Sometimes she did, but she preferred chicken claw. Depending on the evil she's working that night, I reckon. I think a raven claw has different evil than a chicken claw. So anyway, this night she had a chicken claw. Right.
She got it for free. She found it in a KFC bucket. So.
Oh my gosh! I need to call Lafayette up, or I can't call him. I'll text him because I got his number, and I'm going to tell him, hey, what if there was a bucket of chicken on the side of a road and it was evil chicken? That's a story right there. That is a story. Oh, he's going to write a story about an evil bucket of chicken. I just know he is. Anyway, Granny Dingo, she had her hair stuck up with this chicken claw, and she's wearing a pink velour tracksuit with white fuzzy slippers. Now that's weird for a witch, ain't it? Don't you think that's weird for a witch?
Witches just want to have fun and be comfortable too.
Yeah, and I think that's what makes that witch so special. She's different. I mean, she's a mixture of old evil witch, but she's redneck too, man. I love it. I just love it. I think it's great. Anyway, Granny Dingo, she never walked. You know that? I mean, y'all saw her. Y'all seen her. Y'all seen her, right?
Oh,
y'all seen her.
Yep.
What's she do? What's she do, JR? What's she do? She don't walk. What's she do?
Oh, I'm JR. She floats.
She floats with her feet about 6 inches off the ground. That's how she gets everywhere. She just floats, and she was coming toward Ivan. So Granny Dingo, she hates everybody. She just wants to be left alone. She rarely left her trailer, and when she did, that meant something bad's going down. So Ivan looked at her. He looked at her sitting there in his chair, and he said,
"Oh, Helsky."
And we just want to apologize to all our Russian listeners right now. For some reason, that sounded really inappropriate. But anyway, he growled.
We need to apologize to all our listeners.
He growled it. Look, we got to get through these next 6 pages because this beer's working through me. I got to go. Anyway, he pushed himself up from the lawn chair, and he had that shotgun in one hand and his beer in the other. And Granny Dingo floated into his yard, and she stopped a few feet from him. And Manson stopped by her side, and his eyes was looking on Ivan real hungry like, and he was going,
"Granny."
Wait a minute. I don't know what.
Granny.
Wait a minute.
I forgot which accent I was doing.
Wait a minute. You're supposed to be damn Manson. Manson don't talk. He's a dog.
Oh, Manson was like, "Rawr."
Yeah, because that was I've never known of a rabid damn dingo, okay? Named Manson after Charles damn Manson sounded like a rawr.
Yeah, and he's Australian, so you gotta go. You gotta go.
Rawr, mate.
Rawr, mate.
Anyway.
Mate, pop.
He was like, he was like, "Mate."
Right. He's mate. No, that's pirate. Sorry. Anyway, his eyes.
That's an Australian pirate.
His eyes was fixed all hungrily on Ivan, and he had this frothy drool dripping from his bared teeth. And Ivan said,
"Granny."
in acknowledgement of her, to let her know that he knew her, because they got this kind of thing. They don't hate each other, but they don't like each other. They just kind of, they're like, hey, how you doing there? So anyway, Granny's face was withered like that of a sun-scorched mummy. I thought that was so well done. I texted Lafayette and said, damn, Lafayette, sun-withered mummy. Damn. Put that on a biscuit. Anyway, she looked at Ivan and she croaked.
You done? Yeah, that's say something.
She looked at Ivan and she croaked.
Man,
And then Ivan asked her.
How bad is it?
And then she said. And then she said. There's another line there. You gotta say it.
Yeah,
You gotta say it.
we've been so far off script. I'm having to get a map and try to figure out where the hell we are.
Okay, so here's the thing. Okay, here's the thing. When Lafayette wrote this, he thought that was one of the best lines of the story is what she says next. So I'd really appreciate it if you'd be a professional, Madman Jr., and
Yes,
deliver
sir.
the damn line. Deliver the damn line. Anyway, she said.
There's gonna be. There's gonna be a bit of death tonight, Ivan.
That was damn good. So we're gonna take a little pause. I'm gonna have to
You are
cut
like
this
the
out. 'Cause
worst children's show host ever.
I'm having a blast, dude. Look, I am having so much fun doing this. All right.
Expect you to
But
either to
for-
heal the sick or to pick up a mirror and go, I see Johnny and I see Davy. Dude, seriously, I don't know what this accent is you're doing.
Is it
Don't
working
hit
though?
for me.
It scares me. It really does.
So, all right, we apologize. We had some technical difficulties. Actually, we didn't have technical difficulties. Somebody had to go pee because they can't hold their beer. So we're back, and we're just going to jump right back into the story where we were. So we're going to deliver that last line just to let everybody know where we was. Okay. So Ivan had said, "How bad is it?" And then Granny Dango said,
I can't talk with you doing that.
Granny Dango said, deliver the damn line. We're live.
Working on it.
You're making
It's
us look
bad.
like. Yeah. She replied.
There's going to be a bit of death tonight, Ivan.
Yeah, I guess if that's the best way you can deliver it, we'll just run with it. Anyway. About that time, two boys on rusty bikes rode up on the lot. And these boys were loved by everybody. And they were Rory Boudreaux and Stevie Muse. Now, both of them were 12 years old, and they already knew that strange things happened all the time at the trailer park. They were followed by their dog. They had a dog, too, and he's a mix of a husky and a border collie, and his name, you know what his name was? Guess what his name was? It's McCready. You know, McCready from The Thing? From the movie The Thing? They named him that. And they took a long time. They spent a long time working on that name. They just love that movie because they had John Carpenter fans. And that was the greatest John Carpenter movie of all time. Well, no, hang on now. Because Halloween.
They live.
Halloween. Yeah, and they live. So, you know, it's one of the best Halloween, one of the best John Carpenter movies ever. And they love McCready. So anyway, they named him McCready because they love McCready and they love his dog. So anyway, Ivan squinted at the boys when they stopped at the edge of the road. Now, he looked at them and he squinted his eyes and he says,
What are you two doing here, Ski?
Lord, we're going to get sued. Anyway, Rory moved to the trailer park from New Orleans after his dad was killed by a
Worst
voodoo
cover
queen.
band ever.
We look like the meth version of Poison right now. We do. Looking for nothing but a good time, and it don't get better than this. Anyway, so Ivan, he squinted at the boys, and he said,
What are you two doing here, Ski?
and Rory, we already did that part, but anyway, it's just extra for the people. It's extra. They like this extra stuff we're doing.
I mean, that line was so good, it had to be done twice.
Well, since Chris can't deliver his line right, you delivered that one perfectly twice. Twice.
Dude, I know where you live.
With a T. Twice
I'm coming
with a
over
T.
there and whooping you right now.
If I look at my wife, sometimes I look at her, I go, "Hey, baby, do you think we could do that twice or whatever it is?" Like, whatever. She'll go, "I hate it when you say that." Anyway, Rory had moved to the trailer park from New Orleans after his daddy was killed by a voodoo queen. Voodoo queen. Think about that. Let that sink in, people. A damn voodoo queen killed his daddy. Makes you wonder what the
Dude, you are going to make beer come out of my nose before this is over.
It makes me wonder. It makes me wonder if Lafayette's ever going to write that backstory and let us know.
Can you say that? Can you say that, voodoo queen? Can you say that one more time?
Voodoo queen. He's going. I know it. He's going to write about that voodoo queen. Yeah. Anyway. Now, Rory, we love our boys here now, right? We love these boys. Rory,
Careful.
He had dusky. I know what you mean. I got it. That's no. We promised before this show started.
You're
we was really
wearing
going
a blonde wig and a weird hat. So
it's a mullet and some kind of jacked up cowboy hat. Maybe if I did it that way. Anyway, we are not going to do anything. We love these characters. We promised early we was going to be careful. All right. So John is gone. He's gone. He died. He died. He done got. He's gone. Oh, there he is. He's back.
I still got some of a mullet right here.
So anyway, Rory had dusky skin and mischievous eyes. Rory, yeah, yeah.
Finding Rory.
Yeah, and he spoke with a Cajun patois. Now, I love saying patois. That's a fun word.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, it's a fun word. That's hurtful. That almost makes me want to come out of character and ask you what the hell you mean. But I ain't. I'm going to stay in character. I can stay in character like some of you professionals.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Rory said, we was reading comics at Stevie's when we done saw Granny Dingo headed this way. And Stevie, he had red hair and freckles. He had red hair and freckles and a Mayberry innocence. You know what I mean by that? Just simpler times. Kind of like simpler times.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to go with that.
You're a cowboy there.
Anyway, Stevie had lived in the park his whole life. His dad had left after he was born. And anyway, Stevie said, we figured we might come and help. That's the hearts. These boys just got that kind of heart, man. Anyway, Ivan knew the boys could handle themselves. They had survived dozens of dangerous situations. Some of them we ain't even heard yet. We ain't heard the best ones yet. We got the best ones to come. Anyway, many of them were paranormal in nature. Not all of them, though. Some of them just adventures, but some of them, a lot of them, paranormal. Anyway, and he knew that he'd become a father figure to them. And he liked it. He took that seriously, people. He took it seriously because he ain't never had no kids that we know of. I don't know. Maybe Lafayette will tell us. But anyway, so knowing he could trust them, he was also cautious in enlisting them into any situation without first understanding the danger. So he looked at Granny Dingo and he said,
What are we getting ourselves into?
ski. And I'm just trying to follow what you already set up. I mean, if you're not professional, keep that character going like you started him.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I highlighted everything I was supposed to read, and I missed that line.
I missed a good chunk of what Chris Madman was supposed to be saying. So when I highlighted his parts, but you know what? It happens. Anyway, sorry about that, Madman. Anyway, Granny Dingo looked at Ivan and said,
Ain't too Shorsky.
So at some point, she just let her Russian out, and we gotta be careful because what we talk about here is gonna come canon now. And so
no, it's
so
not.
Now I guess
ain't gonna be canon. There ain't no way this is canon.
I guess Granny Damn Dingo's Russian. Anyway, so she looks.
Lafayette Faust just turned into some weirdo crossdresser. We got the blue ribbon cowboy on top. So yeah, why not?
It's not cross-dressing. It's a mullet under a hat, people. Anyway.
Oh, it's a lifestyle. I understand.
Anyway, she says, I ain't too sure. And then she said.
Yeah, he didn't highlight that part either.
No.
Yeah. I'm just going to go to the juicy peach eating right now. Just hang on while he's looking for it.
Let's not.
So for the people understand why we've been laughing at this all night, I was looking for squishy noises for Dolly, and I came across one about it. It just says, eating a juicy piece of peach. So that's what you're listening to right now. But pretend. I want y'all to pretend. Use your pretension minds now, okay? Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes.
We're making up words.
I want everybody out there in radio land or podcast land or YouTube land, wherever you're listening.
Wherever the hell we are.
Hang on, I got started over because people won't shut up. Anyway. Just listen to that. And I want you to pretend. I want you to pretend that that's Dolly. That ain't some guy eating a peach. That's Dolly eating a rat.
That peach is Clayton, damn it, and I loved him.
That's Dolly eating up all the people. But what we know now, so you know. See, I just thought it'd be a good time right now to let y'all in on that joke. It's actually dude eating a peach. Anyway, so
we're going to need an old priest and a young priest for Alan.
She says, I ain't too sure, she replied, and then she said something else. What did she say, Madman Jr.?
A few minutes ago, I started feeling a dark presence. I sent my owl to take a look.
Just then, a screech owl. It flew out of the night and landed on her shoulder, and it glared at Ivan. It clearly didn't like Ivan. And then it turned and it hooted in her ear.
Hooty-hoo! Hooty-hoo!
And Granny Dingo, she shook her head. She was all disgusted. She was all kinds of disgusted, and she said,
I know how she feels. This here's Ouija. She says the Dugan clan has created a creature like we ain't never seen. But I got something that just might help us. Boy, you go to the shed behind my trailer. Inside is a table with jars of potions. Only one has clear liquid in it. You get it and meet me and Ivan down by the trailer 99 ski.
And then she said,
hurry, ski.
Oh my gosh, I just can't wait to get to the end of this story and figure out what's in that jar. I'm curious. What could be in
this story either?
What could be in a jar that would kill a damn Jello that's come alive and eating people? Anyway, we'll get to it. I'm sure we're gonna get. Oh, I can't wait, people. I can't wait. Anyway, suddenly, they heard screams coming from deeper in the trailer park.
Let's
And
go
then
ski.
Ivan said it. Yeah, he said it just like that. And he jumped into the pink and white golf cart that he used to get around the park. Now, this pink and white golf cart, it belonged to the park, right? And it was his to drive around to fix stuff because he was the custodian. And he changed out the battery-powered engine, and he put one that ran on gasoline. Man, this thing, it had more torque, it had more speed, and it shot off screaming. And now we got, I don't know. That's like
Patti LaBelle?
That's like Tina Turner with a beard. Anyway,
I'm
So
your
he-
private dancer.
yeah, baby.
Again, nightmares. So many nightmares.
So anyway, so he shot off toward the screaming in this pink and white golf cart. And now Granny Dingo, she floated alongside Ivan as he sped along down the lane, and she was followed by Manson and Ouija
Who the hell?
and Manson.
Mate.
And they headed to her, and the boys, they done went off to her shed to find on that curious mission. They just want to see what's in the jar, right? So anyway, when they got to trailer 99, it took a heartbeat for Ivan to see the strange sight before him because it was dark. And then he took him a minute to process it. And then, you know what he did? He moved into action because Ivan's he's a man of damn action. And he looked and he saw Cletus. He was writhing on the ground. He was screaming in agony. And from his knees down, his flesh was all gone, showing only bones. And Kelsey May, because now she ain't Jolene anymore. The real world caught up with her. She Kelsey May. Kelsey May was standing a few feet away, and she was firing rounds into the trailer. Hang on, let me get what these rounds sounding like. It was gunfire. She was shooting. Like that. And
Yeah.
again, she did it one more time. All right, anyway. So she was shooting, and even in the moonlight, they could see she was pale as a ghost and in a state of panic. And Ivan, he had a flashlight attached to his shotgun, and he stepped beside Kelsey May and shone his light under the trailer, and he saw a large, gooey mass with what appeared to be a swamp rat's decapitated head. Oh, my gosh. That was like some kind of weird He-Man. This is like Jello He-Man. It's Orange Crush, just He-Man. Anyway. For those
Stay
people,
in character.
for those
Be a
people,
professional. Stay in character.
for those people who ain't watching this and can't see the visuals, they some weird visuals tonight. Anyway, this
It's
rat's
like Wendy
eyes.
from Wendy's ate way too many burgers.
Hey, we don't shame people here on this channel. Anyway, Clayton screamed in agony and his flesh dissolved. One of the bullets that Kelsey May fired hit Clayton in the cheek. It shattered his jaw and sprayed broken teeth into a gooey mass. Clayton's screams became a choked gurgling. I'll let you do just like that. It sounded. Oh, it was pitiful. It was bad. Ivan yelled at Kelsey May to stop, and she seemed to snap out of her panic. Then, when she realized that she had shot Clayton in the face, she raised the gun and shot him in the top of his head, and his screaming done stopped. The creature continued to eat his body with sickening slurping sounds. And we're going to make... Yes, it sounded just like that in this too. Listen. You hear that? I was there that night. I was hiding, and I recorded those slurping sounds. Anyway,
Grimacing in the trailer next door.
Grimacing in disgust at the carnage, Ivan asked,
What the hell is that thing, Ski? We don't have things like that in Russia.
Yeah, he didn't. And then Kelsey May said,
It's Dolly Ski.
Everybody's Russian. I love in this country.
It's so funnick.
And then she said something else. She had some other lines she was saying.
We was making jello shots and it just come alive and started eating everybody. Ski.
Ivan had seen too many crazy things happen in his trailer to dismiss what she had told him. So he accepted what she said, then started trying to figure out how to kill Dolly, especially since it seemed that the monster was growing as it pulled Clayton into itself and dissolved his body. Ivan had an idea that he needed to destroy the rat's head to kill the creature. So he took aim with the shotgun and fired a shot between its glowing eyes. And the pellets, they stopped a couple inches inside the creature, causing no damage at all. Then he didn't want to get any closer, but no. I just want to say, for those of you who are listed on the podcast, go to YouTube. You're missing so much. Go to YouTube. Anyway, he glanced at Kelsey May's pistol, saw that it was a .357 Desert Eagle, and he thought, damn, that's a handgun to do it. That's a dang gun. And he looked at her and he said,
"Give me your gun, Ski."
And she said,
You can take my gun out of my cold, dead hands.
And then, faster than any of them thought could happen, Dolly shot out from under the trailer in a rolling, throbbing, oozing ball and fell up on her. It wrapped itself around her from the chest down, and her skin began immediately dissolving, and her blood bloomed dark or red inside the cherry-colored mass of Dolly. And she screamed, and she dropped the Desert Eagle. And then Ivan, he snatched that gun, and he aimed right at that rat's head, and he fired, and it sounded like this. And then he stepped closer, and he shot again. He shot again, damn it. He did. He took aim, and he said, boom, this is good. He shot again. And then he pulled the trigger, and he heard a hollow snap because the gun was empty. And Kelsey May, she continued screaming and thrashing, and Ivan stepped back and shot a glance at Granny Dingo, and he said,
"Isn't there a spell, Ski, or something you can do, Ski?"
And then she said,
Nothing can be done till the boys get here with that jar.
As if on cue, the boys rode into the yard with McCready running between them, and Ivan ran over to him just as Dolly surged up Kelsey May's neck. She wasn't no longer screaming. You know why? 'Cause the flesh and bone on her neck dissolved, and her head fell to the damn ground. It just fell there, and it rolled under the trailer. And then Jolene, she set up on a screaming Cletus. Yeah, whatever. And then Ivan snatched a jar from Stevie, and he noticed it was an old 16-ounce mason jar. It was kind that you use for canning vegetables and stuff, you know, what the old ladies used to do. And it was dusty, and it was stamped on the top of the lid 1958. And I talked to me and Madman, we talked to Lafayette because we got his text. And you know why he said it was 1958? Why was it, Mr. Madman Jr.?
It's when the Blob came out.
That was the year the Blob came out, and he just wanted to put that in the story as a little inside. So all you people listening, you got something. Anyway, so he glanced at Granny Dingo and he said,
"Now what, Ski?"
And then she said,
Toss the damn thing. Hurry before it eats us up, Ivan.
Ivan didn't know what was supposed to accomplish with doing that, but it seemed Granny Dingo in action before. He'd seen her do some crazy stuff. So she never lost a battle he'd been part of. So he stepped closer, and then he wound up as he's a pro baseball pitcher, and he tossed that dusty mason jar clear liquid into the flesh-eating goo, and it hit with a smack, but sank only a couple inches deep. And Dolly sucked in Cletus, and as Dolly sucked in Cletus, Jennifer Aniston, Jennifer Aniston has just joined the group.
Oh, wait a minute, that's part of the. Go.
So anyway. Dolly sucked in Cletus's dead body, and the jar got pulled deeper. And you know what happened when the jar got pulled deeper? The metal lid dissolved, and the clear liquid, it seeped out inside Dolly, and the rat's eyes widened as if in shock. It felt something. People. It felt something. And then the whole mass, it exploded in a million sticky red droplets splattering against the side of the trailer and it sounded like this. Just like that.
It's
It was there.
Hughes.
It sounded just like that because I was there. I was recording it. Just like this. Hang on, I'll tell you. Where'd it go? It sounded like yeah. I mean, and then you heard all the squishy parts? You heard the squishy parts. So anyway, blood, sticky red droplets covered everything, right? The boys, they gasped. McCready gave a shocked bark. Bark! Is that shocked? He was shocked. Do it again.
Bark!
And a Ouija, the owl, she got all freaked out and she hooted a bit. And then, what the heck just happened? Stevie asked. His eyes were wide. Granny Dingo gave a leathery laugh.
That worked better than I thought it might.
Ivan, he done pulled a handkerchief he kept in his back pocket, and he was wiping red goo from his face and his arms and his hands. And he was surprised that it wasn't burning his skin because he'd seen it eat all these people, right? And he said,
do I need to be worried about being covered in this mesky?
And Granny Dingo, she shook her head, and she was like,
no. What was in that jar was taking care of all the evil that was inside the creature.
What be inside that jar, Granny Dingo? Rory asked. And Granny Dingo looked him right in the eye. Hang on. Granny Dingo looked him right in the eye and said,
none of your damn business, you stupid little boy.
oh my gosh, I can't believe you went there. Anyway, I'm sorry. I know this script is nothing like it was written, and it's all over the place. Anyway, so she said, in real life, she said,
holy water.
And then Stevie says, holy water? And Granny Dingo, she nodded at him, and she said,
yep. That stupid girl spoke evil into what they were cooking. And that evil came alive and ate them all up. The good book says you reap what you sow.
Ivan shot her a curious look.
You're a witchki.
And Granny Dingo gave a defiant nod because she owns it. She owns it. And she said,
I am.
And then Ivan, he's confused. He's like, wait a minute. She's a witch, and she says she's reading the Bible. So he asked.
But you read the Bible, ski.
And Granny Dingo, she looked at him. Granny Dingo, she looked at him, and she looked him right in the eye. And what did she say?
Of course I do, Ivan. It's wise to study your enemy.
And then Stevie says, He goes, you call God your enemy, but you help us kill monsters. That doesn't make sense, Granny Dingo. And then Granny Dingo, she cut her eyes real hateful at Stevie, and she says,
watch your mouth, boy. Make no mistake, I ain't good. And if I choose to fight with God, that's between him and me, not you. I choose to help people because this trailer park is my home. And I'm going to protect it from things that disrupt my peace. Ski.
We almost done, people. We just got one more page. Just one more page. We're almost there. We're at the climax right now, people. I mean, we basically just finished it. We just finished it because, we done killed the monster. So anyway, with that, Granny Dingo, she turned and she floated off into the night because she floats. And Manson gave the boys a hungry look because like he was going to eat them. And then McCready gave a warning growl.
Growl.
And Manson cast a sideways glance at McCready, seemed to decide it was better not to try and eat the boys. And then he turned and followed his master. And then Ivan found it curious that Manson gave McCready a wide berth. That makes us wonder. We know that Manson's evil now. Why is he scared of McCready? I bet there's a story coming. I bet Lafayette's going to tell us. Anyway, they heard sirens in the distance. and they sounded like this.
Wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo, wee woo.
And then
wee woo.
Ivan and the boys looked at the mess in front of them, and it was difficult to determine
There's
what
a
was
mess.
gore. Yeah, and, and they just couldn't tell. Some of this is gore and some of it's Jello, but we don't know which is which because it's all just a mess. And Rory said, "Man, that'd just be gross." And Stevie said, "Yeah, I think my days of eating Jello are behind me." And then Ivan, he suppressed a smile at Stevie's comment. He knew that there was something special about these boys that allowed them to see such darkness like what they'd just seen, but not be tainted by it. That's special. I mean, that takes something special, people, right? He
And there's
hoped that
always
they
room
would.
for Jello.
That's
Put
right.
the Jello pudding pop.
I was getting ready to go there. You beat me. All right, good. So Ivan liked that they had such special hearts, and he hoped that they would always retain that ability. But now he needed them to go away so that he and Sheriff Mosley could clean up this mess. So he looked at them and he said,
You did good, Ski, but it's late, Ski. Go to the motherland, Ski.
"Call me crazy," Stevie said to Rory, "but what do you say we go to my place and watch the Blob?" Now, Rory thought that was a hoot. He gave a big old laugh. He said, "You got one twisted sense of humor there, buddy." He goes, "But I sure do think that's appropriate." So with that, the boys, they grabbed their rusty old bikes and they pedaled down the lane in the middle of the night with McCready padding along between them. And Ivan watched as they vanished around that corner. And then, as he waited for Sheriff Mosley to arrive, he considered what had caused all this carnage. I mean, he's having a profound moment, J.R. Jr. and Madman Jr. He knows there's a lesson here. There's a lesson. And he says he could smell the meth residue that they'd been cooking coming from the trailer. And he guessed that the Jello shots they were cooking had something to do with their drug enterprise, and he didn't know what it was. And if what Ouija the Screech Owl had told Granny Dingo was correct, then these three idiots had mixed up their brew in a witch's cauldron, and that Kelsey May had spoken something evil over it. That's kind of stupid, because you know why? Because words, this is true, getting ready to drop, Lafayette dropped a message on us on this. He said words, that's right, preach it. Words, they carry power, and uttered from the mouth of the wicked and the ignorant, they can create all manner of chaos. Now that concludes our story. The Pink Flamingos Trailer Park Players presents a live reading of The Damned. You ruined my end monologue, you cheap bastards. I'm going to have to start getting I got to stop picking people up behind the Kmart down there. Yeah, I can get better help somewhere else. Anyway, so I'm going to come out of character.
But not as cheap, I guarantee that.
That's right.
So I don't want I need to warn everybody because I don't want it to be too abrupt and cause their heads to hurt, but I'm getting ready to come out of character so I can finish this up. All right.
Thank God.
All right. So look, folks, John Fike, Chris Goins, and I have had a blast doing this tonight. We know it's weird. We know it's strange. We know it's probably stupid. Okay. But we hope that you enjoy letting us just be stupid. And if you like this, share it. Give us 5 stars if you're listening on the podcast. Subscribe. You got to help us boost this show by boosting the algorithm. Subscribe, make comments, just share this with everybody you know. And so I will finish with this, and I will say, John, Chris, thank you guys for doing this stupid thing with me tonight. And we will see you on the next episode.
See you, folks.